Hi friends, today I'm taking out the foreign branches accounting for foreign branches. See, what is the meaning of a foreign branch? In simple words, a branch outside the home country in which head office is situated is known as a foreign branch. See, a branch outside the home country in which head office is situated is known as a foreign branch. Suppose in India, you are having a head office in Calcutta, whereas a branch is situated in America, so you can call them as a foreign branch. In America, which place? Say Washington. In Washington, you got a branch of India. Head office situated in India, where in Calcutta, but they are having branch in America in Washington. So a branch outside the home country, that is in India, if you take the example, in which head office is situated, is known as a foreign branch. Outside the home country, I said USA. USA where? Washington, like that. It may be noted that accounting principles which apply to the branch, that is inland branch, also apply to a foreign branch. Whatever the principles we have learned for preparing inland branches, the same also apply. But only the difference is that you need to convert the trial balance on of a foreign branch into home currency. If you can do this, that's it. So what is the importance of this particular topic? You should learn how to convert the foreign currency into home currency. Okay. Now then we need to go for classification of foreign operations. So if you look at the classification of foreign operations, we are having two kinds of operation: integral foreign operations. Integral integral foreign operation. Short form we can call it IFO. Point one. Second one, non-integral foreign operation. Let me use NIF, non-integral foreign operation. Integral foreign operation, non-integral foreign operation. Sir, what is integral foreign operation? A foreign operation, the activities of which are integral part of those reporting enterprise. Reporting enterprise means if you are talking about the head office India, so foreign operations are having in, say, as I told you, USA. But integral part, that means simple word, they are depending on the head office for carrying out the activities in a foreign country, in a foreign branch. It is called as integral foreign operations. That means they are integral part of those reporting enterprise. Reporting enterprise means where it is situated in. Suppose if you take an example, I have taken you example that in Hyderabad, in Calcutta, India. That's a home branch where it is situated. But their activities are being carried out at America, Washington. So you should understand that whatever the activities that is related, it's integral part. That means they are whatever the activity they are carrying, they are depending on reporting enterprise is called as integral foreign operation. Let me give a small example like Tata Motors. You all are aware of it. Tata Motors Limited has a branch office Dhaka, Bangladesh. That a brand that exclusively sells Tata commercial vehicles and passenger cars and remits the cash immediately to Tata Motors Limited. So Tata Motors Limited is having a branch at Dhaka, Bangladesh. That branch exclusively selling the Tata commercial vehicles and passenger cars. It means, come on, tell me, is it not Dhaka? Now, Tata Motors Limited, which is having a branch in Dhaka, the Dhaka branch is having is a integral part of Tata Motors Limited India. Whatever they are selling, they are getting from whom? The head office. That is called a reporting enterprise. Is called as integral foreign operation. Then what is non-integral on and also told you, and they will be remitting the cash immediately to Tata Motors, and whatever the amount that they are realizing by sale of Tata Motors Limited vehicles which they are getting from head office in India, and the amount will be remitted. But non-integral foreign operation, I think this can be called as it acts as a stand-alone unit. Stand-alone, that means they are not dependent. And it accumulates cash and also other monetary items, and also they incur some expenses and they generate incomes. Perhaps they also go for borrowing in local currency. In simple words, they are having a we can say a degree of autonomy. They are not depending for everything on foreign branch, on head office. That means autonomy, a degree of autonomy they are enjoying, and from that of reporting enterprise. That means it's, as I told you, standalone unit means they're independent. They can carry on their activity. They can arrange borrowings and also all the arrange borrowings substantially in its local currency. They can borrow, they can sell, they can get the cash. This is called as non-integral foreign operations. Whether integral foreign operation or non-integral foreign operation, your objective is to prepare financial statements of a foreign branches in the reporting enterprise where head office is located. Suppose if your head office is located in India and you are having branches outside India, they are called as foreign branches. Vice versa also. You got Microsoft Inc. is having their operations in the company has been established in USA, but they're having activities in various countries like India you're having, and some other countries you're having. Now, I think if you take an example, so their foreign branch is having their activities, carrying out their activities in India. So for USA based company, head office situated in USA, this becomes, come on, tell me, this becomes uh, foreign branch. India become foreign branch. If India is having a head office, you're having branch in USA, is called as foreign branch. So when you're doing it, the point number one, you should remember that you need to convert, after getting the trial balance of foreign branch, you need to convert that into Indian currency. Be it IFO, be it NIFO. IFO means be it integral foreign operation or be it non-integral foreign operation. You need to convert that into the Indian currency. Clear to all of you? If you want, you can make a few points on this. Make it fast. Foreign branch. Write the meaning of foreign branch. A branch outside the home country. A branch outside the home country in which head office is situated which head office is situated is known as a foreign branch. In which head office is situated is known as a foreign branch. It may be noted that it may be noted that the accounting principles it may be noted that accounting principles which apply to a home branch that is inland branch also apply to a foreign branch. Also apply to a foreign branch. After converting the trial balance, after converting the trial balance of the foreign branch, after converting the trial balance of the foreign branch in the home currency, after converting the trial balance of the foreign branch in the home currency, next told you next point, classification of foreign operations, side heading, classification of foreign operations. In that first point you write integral foreign operations. No? A foreign operations, comma, that is activities of which, that is the activities of which are an integral part of, are an integral part of those of the reporting enterprise, those of the reporting enterprise is known as integral foreign operations, known as integral foreign operation. I've already given the example of Tata Motors that you can understand. Next one, non-integral foreign operation. A foreign operation that is not an integral part of, a foreign operation that is not an integral part of the reporting enterprise is known as non-integral foreign operation. In other words, it is a standalone unit having foreign operations, carried out a degree of autonomy, a degree of autonomy from a degree of autonomy from that of reporting enterprise. Reporting enterprise is nothing but head office here. Reporting enterprise. Then we see now we'll see now that exchange rate to be used for reporting enterprise. This is clear? We'll be using the term exchange rate to be used for reporting enterprise. That means if you want to convert the foreign currency into Indian currency, how we need to convert that exchange rate? Because you all are aware that exchange rate keeps on changing. We generally we talk about the USA dollar, you convert into Indian currency. It can be 70, 72, 75. It keeps on changing. So then how to record, sir? How the transactions that is being mentioned in the trial balance, the ledger balances, how you are going to convert the balances of a foreign branch that is being given in foreign currency through trial balance, and that you need to convert. And that conversion is applicable for IFO and NIFO. So here I am writing heading. I'll declare it, but initially I'll be writing the heading. You have to copy down this. Exchange used for reporting enterprise. Exchange rate to be used for reporting enterprise. First column item. Leave space here. Then integral foreign operation. I'll tell you why we are writing like this. See, before we discuss this, we need to have clarity. Sir, trial balance you are converting into reporting enterprise currency. That is, if you take example India. So we need to go for classification of items and also the rate which is applicable. So for this, the rates have been classified as closing rate, opening rate, actual exchange rate, and average rate. This is what we need to understand. Here I repeat once again. Closing rate or opening rate, actual exchange rate, and average rate. So four terms you should remember. Repeat once again: opening rate, closing rate, actual exchange rate, average. These four rates applicable for items under integral foreign operation, non-integral. I repeat once again, when we talk about integral foreign operation, we look at the items first. Like items means assets, cash or bank or whatever it may be, fixed asset, etc. And there what we do, integral foreign operation, which rate is applicable? For non-integral foreign operation, which rate is applicable? Is it opening rate is applicable? Opening rate means beginning of the year, accounting year. Closing rate, end of the accounting year. Average rate, opening plus closing by 2. Usually generally we say average. Average rate generally will be given there. And actual exchange rate, when you are acquiring a set or a stock, whatever it may be, what is the actual exchange rate as on the date if records are available? So that is what we will be learning. So note down like this, copy down, giving 1 minute time. Exchange rate to be used for reporting enterprise. First column is items, second column integrated, sorry, integral foreign operations. Short form we'll be calling as IFO. On integral foreign operation. Down. Now in items column, first I am writing monetary items. You write monetary items. I'll give the example later on. The example you can copy down. Closing rate. That will be provided in the examination. We won't be knowing. No need to worry about it. These rates will be given. What is closing rate? That value will be given. Closing rate. Like $1 is equal to so and so. You're converting that, they'll be giving the currency also. You can note down examples. Let me dictate. Cash, comma debtors, comma creditors, comma prepaid expenses, comma outstanding expenses. Cash, debtors, creditors, comma prepaid expenses, comma outstanding expenses. Which rate? Closing rate. Here also closing rate. Non-integral foreign operation also closing rate. Next, point number 2. Opening stock. Opening stock. If carried at historical cost. Historical cost means the cost at which you have acquired. If opening stock has been given as a hint, it is carried at historical cost. If you got the record, you can take actual exchange rate. Actual exchange rate on the date of purchase of stock. Actual exchange rate on the date of purchase of stock. Actual exchange rate on the date of purchase of stock. Here opening rate. Straight away opening rate. Where for non-integral foreign operation. This you should remember. Your memory based doing of the problem. Work out 2 or 3 times. If you go through it, I think it will be easy. But the question is sometimes write a note. If use opening rate in the absence of the absence of the absence of actual exchange rate. Use opening rate in the absence of actual exchange rate. Then it becomes for integral foreign operation also opening straight, and for other also it is at opening rate. That is for integral, non-integral, it will be same. Okay. The next one, not on third item. Closing stock if carried at historical cost. I think you can guess. Whenever you talk about closing stock if carried at historical cost, which is nothing but actual exchange rate exchange rate as on the date of purchase of stock, because from that purchase stock only the closing stock is unsold, no? So actual exchange rate as on the date of purchase of stock. Actual exchange rate as on the date of purchase of stock. Note, here if it is not given, again same, use closing rate. Here we have learned opening rate. Now for opening stock, opening rate here. Use closing rate. Use closing rate. The absence of in the absence of actual exchange. Use closing rate in the absence of actual exchange rate. Then what about here, sir? Here it is closing rate only. So very simple. For opening stock, which rate? Opening rate, closing stock, also closing rate. But for integral foreign operations, and if historical stock is opening stock or closing stock, which is maintained at historical stock cost, we should go for actual exchange rate. That is on the date of purchase of stock. If opening and if actual exchange rate is not there, then we can take closing rate. Then answer will be the conversion factor will be same for integral foreign operations and non-integral foreign operations. Then next we have seen so far monetary items, we have seen opening stock, we have seen closing stock, we have seen. Next fourth one, Non-monetary items. Non-monetary items. Brackets you write. Excluding stock. Excluding stock. Carried at historical cost. Carried at historical cost. We can note an example, fixed asset. Example, fixed asset. Example, fixed asset. You're right. Actual exchange rate. Actual exchange rate as on the date of purchase of asset. As on the date of purchase of asset. Here, closing rate. For non-integral operations, for non-monetary items, you should take closing rate. Fourth one is complete note, related item, depreciation now. If asset is carried at historical cost, depreciation. If asset is carried at depreciation, if asset is carried at historical cost, same whatever you have learned for fixed asset, the same thing is applicable. Actual exchange rate as on the rate of purchase of asset, and here it is closing rate. All of you, fourth and fifth point is same. Sixth one, other revenue items. What are the examples, sir? Purchases, comma sales, comma interest and expenses. These are called as other revenue items. Here also, actual exchange rate. Actual exchange rate. But here I am writing a note. If actual exchange rate use average rate, for the first time you are having average rate in the absence of Use average rate in the absence of actual exchange rate. Okay. Here also same. Same for non-integral also. This is also same. I told you what is that? Actual exchange rate, or use the average rate in the absence of actual exchange rate. This is applicable for integral foreign operation, non-integral foreign operation. Sixth is complete. Seventh point. This is important. Goods received from head office. Goods received from head office or sent to head office. So you are recording this transaction in the books of head office, no? So because this transaction, whatever we have seen from 1 to 6, it is these transactions have not been done by branch, so not be done by head office. So since foreign branch, they have recorded activities account to foreign branch, that you are converting. But when goods received from head office means sent to head office, goods sent or goods returned, I think you'll be having actual exchange, actual amount, actual value. So here I am writing that will be provided in the problem to us. Taken taken at amounts recorded in head office. Actual, simple word. Here also same. Okay. And one more also, the ninth point also. Eighth, I think. Eighth. Balance in an office account. Balance of branch in head office account. Actually, balance of branch in head office account means that is being maintained in a home currency, no? You know that goods has been dispatched, goods has been received, cash has been received, cash has been remitted. These details who is having at office? So it's simple. So taken at amounts taken at amounts recorded in head office book. Same is applicable here also same. I think we are having similarities between integral and non-integral. Later on you can visualize, you can just go through it and you can see for yourself where we are having exactly different, so that you can remember. That will be easy. Remittances means cash is being sent, something like that. Actual exchange rate as on the date of sending them. Here also same. Actual, same means actual exchange rate only. Remittances means sending the money. Sometimes we will be having contingent liability. Contingent liability is a disclosure, I told you. This will not appear the balance sheet. Contingent liability. Here also contingent closing rate. What is contingent liability? A liability which may arise or may not arise is called as contingent liability. Now what happened when we are converting the currency, foreign currency into Indian currency, definitely will be having some either gain or loss in translation of uh, the foreign currency into Indian currency. Is clear? Uh, when an Indian, the head office, which is situated in India, is having operations in outside India, when you can see there is a huge loss when foreign exchange rate is increasing, dollar increasing, rupee decreasing. How, sir? If say you dollar is 80 rupees, tomorrow this is 90. You, when whatever the activities you are carrying out foreign countries branches, they'll be sending you that currency, foreign dollars. You convert it into Indian currency. 1 rupee is equal to 80 rupees. You will be getting lot of profit, no? So I think that is what we'll be looking at. So generally, financial organizations, like you see this in IT companies, case of IT companies, when rupee is devaluing, dollar is gaining. I think it's a gain for whom? IT companies, because their activities, most of the activities are exporting of services. Okay, now that's okay. Now write the heading. I'm dictating. Last point. Treatment of exchange difference. Treatment of exchange difference arising. Treatment of exchange difference arising on translation of financial statements. On translation of financial statements. First, you write the side heading IFO, that is integral foreign operation. Write first IF. Here you note down. Recognized as income or expense. That is, whenever you are converting the foreign currency into Indian currency, you may get a gain or loss. That is what I am writing. Recognized as, here you write recognized like this. Recognized as income or expense. Recognized as income or expense. And it will be shown in profit and loss account or statement of P&L account. The P&L account, in case of companies, we say statement of P&L account. Statement of P&L, not account. Statement of P&L for the period in which they arise. For the period in which they arise. Next side heading. Non-integral foreign operations. Non-integral foreign operation. See, here when you look at the non-integral foreign operation, any income or loss is being adjusted in foreign currency translation reserve. It is called as foreign currency translation reserve. That means previously I told you exchange gain or exchange loss is transferred to P&L account, but here exchange gain or exchange loss is not rated as a not transferred to P&L account, but they will be called as foreign currency translation reserve. It is called as foreign currency translation reserve. Note down. That income or expense is accumulated in foreign currency translation reserve in the balance sheet until, how long this continue? Until the disposal of until the disposal of net investment. That means this normally gain is there. That gain we could have created a P&L account. Here you should not credit. It will be directly taken to where balance sheet is a foreign currency translation reserve. Okay. And last conclusion, write as a note. Sir, how to know which is IFO or NIFO? That is what I am saying. Unless otherwise indicated, it is reasonable to assume the branch is an IFO. The branch is an IFO means integral foreign operation of the head office. Integral foreign operation of the head office. Okay, you can go through this the today's class twice or thrice. Definitely, it will be useful to you. 6 problems we are having. Some problems I wish to give you as homework. All topic only conversion is important. Remaining thing final accounts method we can do. Find out the result of the branch in the head office. Okay. Meet in the next class. Till then, goodbye. God bless you.